presence is availability. This is my main idea. You can't see a solid, opaque object from all sides at once. It's a good thing that you don't need to do so in order visually to experience a solid, opaque object. We visually experience much more than projects to the eyes. Seeing, conscious experience in general, is not like eating. It's like holding. And I can hold you without holding or touching every part of you. And I can enjoy a sense of your presence even though I only hold your hand. Instead of thinking of what is present to mind as what directly projects to the nervous system and produces activity in the brain, we should think of what is present as what is available, not to our eyes or brain, but to us. The front of a tomato, the back of it, the space behind your head, the room next door, the aisle, the alley outside this doorway, the Eiffel Tower, your loved ones, they are all present insofar as you have access to them. Depending on where they're located in space and time, the nature of your access varies. Depending on the nature of your embodiment, the nature or quality or character of your access varies. Depending upon what you can do, the modality of your access varies. So to the varieties of different ways we have of achieving access, there correspond all the varieties of presence. And each of us, I think of a sensory modality like sight versus touch versus hearing. I think of it as a style of access. And one thing which is interesting about that idea, and I'm thinking in dialogue with you, Claire, is that styles are both group phenomena and individual phenomena. So you have your style of handwriting, but then there's, the way the British are taught to write. And you can look at the art from a particular period and say, well, that's of this period, but then an individual artist of that period has his or her own distinctive style. And similarly, each one of us is in fact uniquely biologically embodied. Each one of us wears our history under gravity and all the indignities of being alive, and especially aging, differently. We're all scarred differently. We all have different knowledge. We all have different, therefore, abilities. And our abilities are also disabilities. My knowledge of English lets me produce these sounds, but my knowledge of English would prevent me from hearing English and not understand it. I can no longer hear the sounds. I hear meanings. I stopped reading at some point. The generic modality of the world's presence is that of its accessibility. The world, sometimes we think, well, if I see something, I need to have a representation of it in my head. But no, the world doesn't show up as in my head, it shows up as there. So right now I have access to here, and here, and here. I can do this, or I can do that. And right now I heard some musical sound coming from outside. I am now coupled in a biological sensory motor way, thanks to what I can do and what I know, to sights and sounds that are actually outside of my immediate contact. So this notion of accessibility, I think, is really the key notion for making sense of consciousness, of making sense of perception. Not just perception, but also thought, because thought is another style of engaging with things. I can think about Aristotle, I can think about the Eiffel Tower thanks to my participation in a whole network of social relationships, linguistic relationships, encyclopedias, Wikipedia, etc. So that was all in varieties of presence, and in action and perception before that, really. But one of the things I've been thinking about with Claire and Jess these past couple of days, and this has already been in what we talked about, is the way this notion intersects desire, curiosity, interest. We don't have these skills in isolation. Everything has an affective meaning, an affective significance. Things are not really neutral. We may not pay attention to the meanings they have, but we're constantly being buffeted and drawing on what we know in response. And some things are enticing and some things are repellent. Something that Jess and Claire have been talking about is the relation between perception and love. Because if you think, as I do, of perception as a form of openness to the world, a willingness to orient yourself to something, then really seeing, like really seeing, really perceiving, is an act of love.